What up, y'all? This is the real big boss, Calvin 83 live. The real big boss, Calvin 83, which is my name that I go by on my Instagram as well. And I got to address this whole capitalism with these heifers. Now, I like Erica Lichet, but she be saying some dumb, and she's on point. And I do respect her when she advocates for black men. So I'm not gonna, but when you say some shit that's delusional, because she is still a modern woman. I'm not gonna fault somebody who's trying to learn, decolonize their mind, especially women, and trying to get off the feminazi rhetoric. But the capitalistic mindset, materialism, it's whooping her ass. And I'm not trying to be mean and disrespectful, and don't take it personal, Erica. I do like Erica, of knowing of her by what I see of her on social media and, live streams, what she talks about. I fucks with her on that. However, I cannot let this go. And it's going to be a play-by-play, and I might just have my commentary on a separate reaction clip, but I have to do a play-by-play because I'm really sick and tired of this nonsense of femininity. Because she's talking about I don't know if she realizes it, but she's talking about fucking conditional femininity. Why women can't be feminine, but you got women in these third world countries who don't have nothing, no rights, in poverty, just like the men. They're in poverty, underdeveloped, but these women are feminine and sweet, and the men are masculine as fuck. So get the fuck out of here with this bullshit to you Western, overly privileged, spoiled, modern heifers. I need y'all to stop with that bullshit about it's because the lack of money is the reason why your relationships are broken. No, the reason why the first thing when it comes to divorce and breakups is not because of financial. Bad fucking communication, lack of honesty, lack of accountability. Okay? I get so sick and tired of you heifers keep talking about the lack of money when you're in the most richest country in the world. Yes, we can talk about the divide and conquer. We can talk about the haves and the have-nots. That's capitalism. Y'all have a Disney fairy tale fucking mindset. You are delusional. Y'all basically relationships of what you saw on the television of Disney. And I get so sick and tired. Oh, women can't be feminine because of this, why, that. But black men can never be masculine. Especially when it comes to other black women. He's called toxic. He's called a narcissist. He's called a misogynist. He's an abuser. He's a pedophile. He's shallow. He's a pedophile if he wants a woman under the age of 25. And he's over the age of 25. But you heifers were chasing dudes over the age of 25. And a lot of y'all were under the age of 18. A lot of y'all were under the age of 25 chasing older dudes. Now that y'all older and you're over 30, now you want to cry and bitch like a bunch of crybaby, weak-ass punk bitches. Now let's do this playback. So I had to get this off my chest because the double standards and the hypocrisy is unfucking real. But she got points that I will give my commentary on because I have discussed this, but I got my channel deleted by you pro-wax simps and you black feminist hoes, you bedwenches and you divestors, especially to that bitch, the one that talks about aborting black male babies, calls black men dussies who don't kiss her ass, and they don't bow down to her, and they don't kiss her ass, and if you hold her accountable, you're canceled. But yet she calling black men dusties and beta male coons. But based on her description, she had entanglement to a man that will fit the description because he has multiple baby mamas. Now, this man, as you will know, Robert Perkins, and there's no, I don't have a problem with Robert Perkins. I like what he talks about and does. Do I agree with him on everything? Oh, hell no. But he has a different outlook and experience, and I do too. But here's the thing. When we listen to women, this is why I am not a fan of y'all listening to what women say. Because it's not going to end well for you as a man. But women, y'all better stop listening to each other. Some of y'all have good intentions. But a lot of y'all, and when I hear I feel, you feel me, but there's no, I think this is the way to go. You're not doing no logic with the emotion. I don't give a damn what these half-ass scientists say. Y'all choose not to critically think and use common sense because women back in the day had to use common sense. It was for survival, but it just shows you in our gynocracy how comfortable these modern melanated females are. It's not just melanated women, it's just women across the board in Western society. But let me play this video.
And older that weren't married was low. It was around less than 15% for all races of people, for white people, for black people, for white men, black men, white women, and black women. That's what these statistics are for. And now people are accusing me of jumping around the subject and not holding black women accountable for them stepping away from the families in the 1970s. So let's look at what happened in the 1970s, right? So in the 1970s, what happened in the 60s that led up to the 70s. I have the marriage statistics here, and this is what I'm going to do for you guys who are watching once the video.
I get so sick and tired of y'all using statistics, but nobody questions. And I stand by Robert Perkins. Shout out to you, B123. Y'all use statistics to prove points that y'all really can't prove. Let me say what I mean. Well, Calvin, you done it yourself. Hold on. You don't know me like you think y'all do. That's why you can't always go by what people say on social media. Because a lot of the people on social media, they will tell you one thing, but they're doing shit off social media. Not everybody, social media is not real life, people. It's just the difference is people tell their business on social media. And they're not honest with themselves, and they share their delusions on social media. This is problematic. Until you understand how they conducted a study, until you understand how the scientists did this, and you do your own research yourself, stop trusting every statistic. Stop trusting every study, man and woman. God damn, just stop. And y'all just use it to weaponize each other. And that's another form of social engineering. Just to let y'all know, when it comes to this so-called information era, and a lot of y'all just stupid as fuck. And dumb.
It's posted. I will put all the sources that I have. I'm going to cite them in the description box or in the comments or whatever you call it. I'm going to put it there so that you yourself can refer back to it. Because what I don't like to do is spout information and do not give you guys the source of it. So this information comes directly from the census.gov. It is marriage statistics.
Let me tell you about the census. And I actually took a job at the census. And believe me, the way they do their study, it is so way off, people. Me trying to work with the Census Bureau, and the way they did and just talking to the employees and people that work there, a lot of misinformation is going on there. So that's why you can't trust them. And a lot of times the government is not going to give you what y'all need to know. That's not their job. There's a lot of fear mongering and a lot of propaganda and a lot of delusions. And we know that a lot of women are the soft target when it comes to delusions because there's money involved and you manipulate the woman, you manipulate the men and the children. But see, the man is the threat. But You practically have to murder the man, especially if he's intelligent, because he will challenge the system. Okay? That's why they do what they do. And when that woman supports that man, you're going to have a strong community of support of a few intelligent men who are revolutionary and willing to go for change. I'm just going to say it like that.
From 1890 all the way up until the 2010s, right? So this statistic, you guys can't see the chart, but according to the data that's here, the percentage of people that were 35 and older that weren't married was low. It was around less than 15% for all races of people, for white people, for black people, for white men, black men, white women, and black women. That's what these statistics are for. And so when you get into the 1980s, all of a sudden that statistic jumps up, and it jumps up. It rises for everybody, but it jumps up drastically for black people. So in the 80s, going into the 2010s, the percentage raises all the way up to 25%. So people that are age 35 and up that are not married goes from being less than 15%. And for black people, we actually have the lower rates. For us, it was less than 10%. Less than 10% of us were unmarried, 35 and older. But in the 80s, that rate rises. We have a higher proportion of people that are not married going from 1980s on. Black people, let me be specific, because white people will still get married, but black people weren't. So what happened during that time period? What happened during that time period to where all of a sudden in the 70s, leading into the 60s, we just stopped getting married? Did black women collectively say, we don't want marriage anymore? Is that what happened? Let's look at some of these.
Let me say what happened was basically the vanity, the capitalism, integration, the industrial. You could say the lack of the industrialism, the destruction of jobs being shipped away, the industrialism, the failing industrialism, the failing industrialism. I don't know I guess I can just say it like that. I'll just say it like that. However, what you're not discussing, and I want to still point this out, is the fact that it's the lack of pride. Because black people did have owned land, owned property, and had their own businesses. So I'm not really buying that, Erica. I'm not trying to, hey, I got to push back on what you're saying and push forward at you out of love. A lot of these females have an envy, self-esteem, and self-hatred. It comes to you. I'm big on psychology. I don't go, and I understand how the mind. I'm not saying I'm the expert. I understand manipulation, vanity, whole vanity, the sexual, the license to be hoes, especially towards women. And women having this feminist mindset, and women being given these delusions and indoctrination was problematic. And women saying, and the color purple propaganda, and then that the man was just abusive and oppressive. But they never showed the other side, that there was women actually abusing men. And a lot of times men were taking a lot of shit. Y'all don't factor that women, y'all act like women don't do no goddamn wrong. Women don't verbally abuse, emasculate, disrespect, slap shit around. Now you see it. You obviously see it, but y'all still act like women are these sweet, gentle, delicate flowers. And they're weak of vessel, but they do so much goddamn damage, yo. They are toxic, they are wicked. And Jezebel, but the Jezebel spirit is, I don't know if you're going to talk, I'm not sure if you're going to talk about it, but that's how I'm seeing it. That's how I'm taking it, and but so the integration, black people thinking that white folk are going to stop being racist, and all this illusion and inclusion is the main problem. And then with the toxic feminism that black women was advertised to, because to me, I would argue if black people put themselves first, second, or third, and still had that survival black to not trust the enemy. and their enemies because they fought. And a lot of black people think because other groups who are non what they would call non-white, but they're cave though, non-white folk was just and they fought. They had the same experiences. Technically, not really. They did, but not really. They were the light-skinned Negroes, like the Asians, the Mexicans, and mainly the Indians. Now y'all can argue that the East Indians were dark and all that, Native American, but they were light-skinned niggas who were in the house. They were the house Negroes, and the brown-skinned, especially the darker black folks, were in the fields. Okay, so the plantation evolved, and that was the thing. And us not being ready, and us marching for acceptance is the kicker. Now I don't know if she's gonna say all that, but I'm I'm setting the tone right now so y'all can pay attention to what she's saying, and why I say she's wrong, even the way she's presenting the facts.
Comments, because I don't want to just keep talking and. Because I feel like there's a lot of things. I see people in the comments saying in the 60s they assassinated all the strong black leaders. Someone says it may be true that the household split in the 70s, but we're both to blame for falling into the trap. Now, Don't
forget the welfare system. Don't forget no fourth divorce. And then this all this heifer boss bitch disempowerment and slut culture. And then the rise of beta males, who was not taught the principles of manhood and this is before what she's saying. But I would argue that if the fact that a lot of men were trying to change their ways because of the color purple narrative. Or all these negative things, and then being compared to white men, but yet there's a white male worship that's never been addressed. So that's why I don't agree with her. And anybody who says even the misleading statistics.
I do agree with accountability. Let me see what we have. Sis, we have to stop identifying as victims. We aren't suffering.
I mean, it's coon shit at the end of the day.
As victims from shared traumatic experience. Not a single person alive has suffered. We survived, but we fail ourselves. Okay, so this is the problem here. You can't get better if you never admit that something's wrong. You just can't. You're not going to get better. You feel me? If we sit up
and that's why I do agree with her on that.
Pretend like nothing is wrong with us, then we are not going to get better. It's not saying that we're victims forever. But we are suffering from a shared traumatic experience. And this is why I have to have a whole conversation.
Well, here's my thing about that, though. When are we going to stop saying that shit? Not saying we can't admit that, but what are we doing to decolonize our mind with pride? Because I think the reason why all that shit happened, and the reason why a lot of black people were prideless when it came to voting, wanting inclusion, and following the wrong people. And then the promoting of capitalism, of vanity, and slut culture. Let's just keep it $1,000 here. The money over everything attitude is problematic, and just us wanting to be included when actually a lot of us had our own businesses. And y'all can miss people. Well, they were getting burned down and all this other stuff. Well, I got a question. When did it get to the point where we can when you have black scholars who was actually advocating self-defense and defense? Those who were trained in martial arts, those who were trained before a lot of the military training was stolen from us. So. But those who actually learned from boxing, fighting, survival, agriculture that we abandoned because white folks, especially with the watermelon, because we cared about so much about what the caves fought. What about learning about weapons and having gun ownership when we can actually support our own people and gun train, blade train, about self-defense and actually just going for blood. But we go for blood even in the 60s. We will fight each other but we will not challenge the system that we allowed to get created at that point. What was the revolution? When Malcolm X talked about violence being an intelligent way, why was that rejected? I want to know, is she ever going to speak on it? I doubt that she is, but like I said, the lack of pride. When are we going to lead with pride? But I'll let her talk.
About femininity, because Black women as a whole, we don't even know really how to be feminine. We've lost.
No. I'm not letting you get away with that. What femininity pertaining to African femininity? Black men. What is the standard of African masculinity? Because if you're trying to copy from other groups on femininity, you're trying to copy from these cave bitches. That y'all, but something that many of you pro-blacks like to call, and I agree with you on that. These cave hoes, these nasty cave ratchet bitches. But why do y'all fall behind them? And then the next excuse would be we don't have a language and culture, which is true. However, but when you have people during that time trying to teach Black people to have pride and knowledge of self, and then you got Marcus Garvey and his wife. Was basically Marcus Garvey and his wife supporting him, trying to advocate Black people connect with Africa. Oh, we're not from Africa. We're American. That type of dumb shit is self-destructive. Just to let y'all know. And then Black folks don't want to. We love America. We want white folks to not feel uncomfortable. That's the problem, Coonan. You're not discussing that. Nobody's discussing that.
Our sense of femininity, because we don't understand that if you're a Black woman, it is a luxury to be feminine. We didn't get the luxury of being.
What do you mean a luxury to be feminine? No, I would argue that it's a luxury to be a goddamn thought. Femininity comes from within. You're born with it. What are you talking about? Masculine. So let me say this: is me being masculine a luxury? I would argue that being effeminate is a luxury because we live in a first world country. This promotion of the gay agenda, and I'm gonna have to discuss this in a different video, obviously, on how the gay agenda is pushed by Black women and how how they've been indoctrinated with this bisexual behavior and lesbianism, and to play on the other team, which that's going to have to be obviously a different video, and hopefully and a live stream at the same time. That what she's saying is some modern bitch hoe ass shit.
Feminine. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I wanted to pinpoint some of these comments that I'm seeing because I understand people have their ideologies. I want to tell you guys what happened first. This is the first thing that happened in the 1970s that no one talks about. No person in the conscious community I've ever heard bring this.
But you know something? A lot of men, a lot of Black men in the red pill sector, a lot of red pill Black men, a lot of Black men who are red pill content creators, and in the Black manosphere has actually touched on this. Now, I'm not saying all the content creators have touched on it, but I'm saying there's actually, I wouldn't say a small portion, but a lot have, but that don't get views. And I know women ain't gonna watch that part, but they worship money, the capitalism, the whole vanity. But a lot of women, they're just not interested in the politics of it. They're not feeling that. They don't fuck with that. And that's they don't. It's their choice. But it'd be nice if women actually actually listened instead of getting, rest in power, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, but he actually touched on some of those, the money aspect and all that stuff. Did I agree with him on a lot of the stuff about the capitalism? I thought he was preaching the wrong shit. But in a manosphere, some certain content part of the manosphere, but I was saying more so in the black red pill content creators and some women, but mainly men, black men, and a few black women who actually more so supported, was discussing this, but the conscious community ain't gonna touch it because you got a bunch of leftover, dusty, bitter, toxic feminazi, reform divestors, ghetto gagging bedwenches in the conscious community, and a bunch of pro-whack, beta, weak-ass simp males. I'm not saying all, you just have too damn many.
But it's something massive that happens, which set everything else in the motion.
I would argue that cooning, black people being on some make a coon shit and buying into the delusion of illusion and inclusion, and black women buying into feminaziism and the color purple narrative about to fear their own men and trying to emulate white females was problematic.
What happened in the 1970s is deindustrialization.
Hey,
okay.
So basically, that's what I was trying to say, deindustrialization.
I'm going to say that again. What happened in the 1970s is deindustrialization. What is deindustrialization?
Black people abandoning black pride and embracing being super coons, I would argue, is the reason why that led on to all this other bullshit, because we didn't financially support each other. It's a damn shame that you gotta promote black owned. But that roots back to cooning. And when black people actually when it came to the watermelon, when it came to agriculture, particularly black people getting wealth from watermelons and growing watermelons, and y'all are familiar with peanut butter. Us with a claim to growing our own food, crops, and y'all not familiar with the people, George Washington Carver. Y'all familiar with that? A lot of us was stereotyped and disrespected, but see, that proves my point of the self-hatred and the fear and wanting validation, and we abandoned our source of wealth. Growing watermelons and owning these farms that we got, or it was abandoned, but we made it. You know what I'm saying? That's not talked about, but shout out to Push Black, because I be getting the personal messages on Facebook, and they be sharing, the information. That type of information. Don't agree with some of the stuff that's, is a lot of gynocracy, but I would love for the black man, and I definitely, before I continue, I would love to have more of the conscious community invest, to speak more about black misandry and the black masculinism, because I respect and shout out to Dr. T. I forgot, Dr. Hassan. Shout out to you, bro, man. You're amazing on what you do, educating black men's studies, because that needs to be included in the conscious community.
Deindustrialization, in case some of you who may not know what it is, deindustrialization is basically where all the jobs, the factory jobs, the manufacturing jobs, were exported to other countries, basically Asian countries. Now, what does that have to do with black people? It has everything to do with black people, all people specifically, but especially black people. Because you know who's working these manufacturing jobs? You know who's in the factories working and providing for their families? Black men.
Here's the thing about that. Certain parts of the country, you speaking just in America, black people actually had their own businesses. I actually own land that had wealth passed on, though. I can't support what I'm not saying she's wrong all the way. I'm speaking of the fact that why, when it came to integration, we stopped supporting ourselves and wanted to be in these other places that they didn't want us and didn't respect us, but they took our dollar and we just embraced the money over everything capitalism bullshit. We don't want to talk about that for some odd reason.
Men are the ones who have these jobs. They're the ones who's working and providing for the families. And because they're working and providing for the families, then there's no issue. You guys know that
See. Mm-hmm. There is an issue. Okay? Because this is what these women were talking, these women were, because they were kind of getting the deindustrialization. I can't talk right now, but deindustrialization. And then you have all this romance propaganda. Kevin Samuels, and not just him, but others, but Kevin Samuels specifically spoke on the romancing and all this, the new frame of dating and relationships that was geared towards women, particularly black women, buying into the delusion, the sexual live, the thought culture, the promotion of abortion, man, the welfare and divorce, and women thinking that men are just these monsters and men should be feared, but yet y'all want protection from these males that you feared. And then at the same time, you talk about these guys that y'all fear, but y'all take the worst of the worst type of dudes. And a lot of these women wanted to date the guys that made them tingle. And they wanted to freely give it up. And they wanted to be like these dusty ass males. These players and pimps. Because that actually was starting to be promoted for the media. Why does nobody want to talk about that? That women wanted this freedom of choice, but did not want the consequences because it was so romanticized by the television. Y'all gotta understand the power of the media. But I'm not gonna start talking. But I have to put that. I just had to make that point. Those points.
One of the main reasons for divorce is financial problems, right?
No. The main reason for divorce is not financial problems. Let me say, and I have said this to many people. No, communication, selfishness, entitlement because why do we got so many people who are rich, wealthy, making six figures? Both parties, you can say both parties now, but mainly men who are providing these lifestyles. Why are these women having affairs with dusties? Broke, dusty ass males, these thugs and criminals and shit. Why is she having side dudes and dudes who ain't making nothing, or if they are making money, they're making, the average income, $50,000 or less. Why is she fucking and banging these dudes? And I'm not saying a guy who making average income can't provide and, can't take care of himself and take care of a family. I'm saying these women want all these luxuries and shit especially that's been promoted by the time she was a little girl, Disney, all this BS, this delusion. These women have these lives. A lot of these women have these lifestyles, and they're side chicks and they're sugar bitches to these guys. Some of these women are married to these dudes, and they treat him like shit because he's not exciting. Because he don't fuck her good. Now, he may not care or not, but if I'm working like 100 hours, working 16-hour days, why do I have an interest to want to fuck you good? You should want to be doing it too. I'm just saying. You don't want to be the house. You don't want to organize anything. You want a luxury lifestyle and you don't want to do little to nothing. Nobody talks about this aspect. It's not financial. It's the delusion. And I'm not saying, yes, you got some dudes who are assholes and jerks, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you I'm sorry. Y'all keep looking at materialism though. I'm sorry. I can't. Y'all don't communicate a lot. I'm not saying men are not honest and stuff. Y'all talk about he cheating. I don't agree of men, and I damn sure don't agree with women cheating, especially when you're doing, especially but you're denying this man relations. He busting his ass, but you're giving it to the trash man, the dusty ass dude who ain't about nothing. I have a huge problem with that, and you want to be ungrateful because he's not exciting, because everything's stable and put together. Because I want this exciting married life on TV. That's the problem, Erica, and women like you. Let me be nice. I don't know if you got a man. I don't know when's the wedding date, but there's a reason why. I know we have a lot of issues, communication issues. It's still communication, and it's still the lack of honesty and accountability, and people not being real. But a lot of people are just being selfish and wanting something that doesn't exist, that you've been sold by Disney. Racist ass, misandric, gynocracy promoting Disney. But there's a reason why women like her, who's fine as she is, over the age of 30, about to enter her mid-30s, is single. And my thing is, it's not about the money. It's just the delusions, the lack of communication, and people wanting to have power over each other. And you got a lot of women who don't have nothing to her, don't have nothing, but she still thinks she's better than a man who's a millionaire, who's a billionaire. That arrogance, because she thinks she can get a man anytime because she look good, and that's all she got to bring into a relationship. Y'all can say it's the man's fault, men allow this, but I would argue that a lot of men are valuing themselves. This is why a lot of these women were triggered by Kevin Samuels, triggered by these men who are red pill content creators, especially in these black men who are red pill content creators. And just men who are red pill content creators who are speaking on this animanosphere. Do I agree with everything these red pill content creators say? So do I know that some of them are full of shit and hypocrites? Yes. But the ones who have been real since day one, I fuck with them. Man, some of the parts are the man, so I fuck with them who are actually trying to affect change, even though they make a lot of times some of them don't get the support because they don't have all these theatrics, and they're not talking about surface shit. They're talking about deep shit. And a lot of us got to look at ourselves. Why we don't support people who are actually real and blunt, and give it to you raw, and actually will actually have a deep conversation. But it goes over your heads because people are not on that. They're just brainwashed. What can I say? Sheep.
I know you guys have heard that saying ain't no romance without finance. It ain't.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. That's the reason that delusion that a lot of you modern women have, and with Disney, capitalism being diabolical, especially to the black community, this whole culture, this stock culture that you women chose to embrace. You could talk about what the men did, and I'm not getting the men slide on. They want to be hoes, but these males want to be hoes. But you got to understand that men have to have a skill to get women to want them. And it don't take making a lot of money. I don't care what they say. You got dudes who make average income, and they got options like you wouldn't believe. Even even talk about men, but even when these guys talk about, oh, we don't like BBWs and stuff, I know y'all capping. You dudes be lusting after these big girls because some of y'all think y'all can get some easy ass, or some of y'all think if you go for the plain Jane. We have been so delusional. We are misled and miseducated. That's what happened. We lost our values. And I would argue that black people never had no values because we're trying to get values from wild folk instead of trying to look into who we are as a people and actually look and learn. And this is where the black pride comes in. Don't agree with you, baby.
Gold digger or nothing, but it's the truth.
No, it's gold digger, and it's wrong, and it's false.
Financial problems does not allow a woman to bask into her femininity because she's constantly worried. And a man...
No. That's dead ass wrong. Can you tell me why you have women in these very poor third world countries, why they're the most friendliest and most feminine? She can work 80 hours. The man can be working at Home Depot, working his ass off too. And she may be working 80 hours, but he may be working, but he working with his other homies, and they put together a business. Like these Mexicans. Now I'm not gonna get into no debate. Well, they get this, they get that, they get this, they don't get nothing to black people, and I'm not. But I would argue that you give a lot of stuff to black women. If they do, it's a table scrap. But that's bullshit. Women worrying about financial problems. Last time I checked the suicide, a lot of men were killing themselves. A lot of men felt ashamed and left the and just says, I'm a financial burden, and because I'm sick and tired of being disrespected and emasculated. I'm sick and tired of getting slapped by this heifer. So I'm going to distance myself. But now he called her deadbeat. Now he walked out on her when that was not the case. Domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? How dare you? How dare any female think like this? You know what I'm saying?
Who is not providing financially does not feel like a man. When I was dealing with my...
No. You have guys who don't provide nothing, and you women make these dudes feel like a man. Some of these dudes actually think they're a man, and that's where the man stroking comes in. There are dudes who actually are productive and financially do well for themselves. Look at that young brother at the Pineapple Show. I'm going to do that reaction video when I get around to. And look how he was talking to this woman. He was a Navy guy. He was learning about photosynthesis. He got disrespected. Does well for himself as a young man. High value, you would say. But because he was not exciting. You have dudes who do well for themselves and they don't feel like a man because nothing a man does for you women, you modern women, is good enough because y'all got unrealistic goddamn expectations.
Some stuff happened and his finances got messed up and he turned into a totally different person. Now, I'm not saying that I know men and I know exactly how you guys think, but I do know this, and you guys can check me on it if I'm wrong. Aren't you a different man if you're not in a place to provide financially? You turn into something else.
In theory, but I'm going to stop it right there. No. Because there are dudes who do shit for women, provide well, but because they're not social, they don't have the social status, or because he's not exciting enough, he don't know how to lay the pipe down. You have dudes who provide well for themselves and they get emasculated and disrespected, because I'm speaking from personal experience as well. When I grew up seeing men, my dad, men who did well, went above and beyond. Yes, they had their issues. He got called a narcissist. He got called an asshole. He got denied sex. He got a lot of relations, but my mama messing with broke bum ass niggas, bottom shelf trailer park white boys cheating on him. And I'm seeing these guys. I don't want to get too personal. I've seen men work their ass off. The Pookie and Ray Ray is driving his car, tearing his car up that he bought for her. All the luxuries, and he comes home, he finds her with another man. Explain that to me, Erica, and women like you. You got these guys who go and build above and beyond, and they still get disrespected. I'm not saying there are dudes who they fall in hard times, they feel different, but nah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, You got women who don't, these guys marry these broke women. Maybe that's a big ass mistake. You know what I'm saying? We don't require enough, and that goes back down to the communication. That goes back down to teamwork. But if you have a woman, she feels she don't have to do anything, and she can be a stay-at-home, but she feels like she don't have to do it. But yet she want to talk about who he talking to. She makes him feel like shit. But y'all say, well, why would you marry a woman like that? Let me say this. You women, not you, I'm not speaking about Erica in the video. I'm speaking about women in general. Y'all are the most dishonest people. Look how y'all lie to each other. Look how y'all keep each other single. Look how you get women to wreck their own great homes out of jealousy. Women in your family. Look how you get other people, the wrong people in your business when he tells you not to, but you don't like his tone. That's the problem. Y'all want a Disney fantasy. You want luxuries. So look at reality TV. And then when y'all find out that it's not what it is, because it's not what you see on TV, y'all got a little girl, immature girl mindset. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened, but y'all want to talk about him cheating or he entertaining other options. Well, if you're denying him access to your womb, don't give me that I'm tired shit, because shit, if he working like 10 to 16 hours, he making great money, and you blowing the money up, he can't say nothing because you want to call him broke. One thing I do agree with a woman, she kind of like my counselor, guys, dudes who do well for themselves and marry broke ass women don't end well for them. And they get taken to the goddamn cleaners with no fault divorce, child support, and all that. And then he got to take more, but she blows the money, and the kids still hurt, lose everything. The man struggle still got to give money, and it's not being used properly. You know what I'm saying? I didn't play the whole video, but I had to address that part because I get so sick and tired of women offering conditional femininity and thinking that and just being so delusion and self-entitled. Now, I'm not saying that's who Erica. I'm not saying that's about. I'm not saying that about Erica. I'm saying that but her. It's there. It's the model that's she's miss. I mean, I'm not saying no disrespect to Erica Lachey, but it's just the programming is so fucked up, and it's on both sides. But when it comes to women, because women, y'all been allowed to be overly emotional, but y'all not nurturing, loving, sweet, and compassionate. Y'all have love for the wrong people. Your selfish mindset. You hang with the wrong people that ain't no damn good. That's why you got to protect her from herself. But here's the thing, though. If she won't let you do that, that's why you got to check women at the door day one. Just be yourself. If you curse like a sailor, be who you are, gentlemen. If you want some ass, just be upfront. Just be real. I'm real with women. Yeah, I talk shit. A lot of the women I met, they know what I do online. They know my social media. Now, there's women who still fuck with me, and there's a lot that won't. But I'm true to myself, and that's what we got to learn here, man. The communication, but the delusion, and especially modern women delusion, conditional femininity. Y'all got to stop it. Okay, stop it.